Okay, hello and welcome back to part 2. We're going to work on these eyes some more, and we're going to put a nice little quarter moon in the eyes and really make them come to life. So let's get started. Notice I changed the eyes a little bit. I went with blue on my eyes instead of greenish. And now that you know how to change the eye color, you can make them any color you want as well. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on these with Control Space Bar. That's my shortcut to enlarge things in here. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this eye first of all. And I'm going to create a new layer. And go down here to the new layer icon. There's my new layer, layer 1. I'm going to create a little quarter moon right here with an eye color. Now what I need to do is sample this eye color the way it is now. So click on the color picker, and inside here we need to click on find that color, and you see we're in the blue category. So let's go up here, find a much lighter blue, and what we need to do now is turn on a paintbrush. Use the letter B to bring up a brush, or just go up here in the tool palette and click on the brush if you like, and we're going to paint. Make sure you've got kind of a soft edge brush, and we're going to paint kind of a quarter moon right in here. And don't worry, this is on its own layer. If it's not beautiful right this second, we're just going to erase until it is. And obviously mine's not looking great right now, but I'm going to make it so in just a second while I pause. Okay, I'm going to pretend this thing is just about as good as it can possibly be. First thing I'm going to do with it is create a copy of it. So I'm going to drag this layer down to the new layer icon, and I have a layer 1 copy. I'm going to turn on the move tool by pressing the letter V, and I'm going to move that over to the other eye. So I'm going to zoom out, Control minus or Command minus on a Mac, using the space bar to move around, and I'm just going to put that little reflection area right there in that eye. And I need to zoom in to really get close, so you can use the magnifying tool or whatever tool you really like. And we need to place these in the same way on both eyes. I use the space bar to kind of sling myself over, make sure you're on the right layer to move the right one. Back over again. This is layer 1 copy. Alright, so we're going to say that's just fine. Now what we need to do is bring this layer down to layer 1. So Control E or Command E on a Mac, and now they're both on the same layer. So let's do a Control minus to zoom back out, Command minus on a PC. Command minus on a Mac. And now let's do a slight Gaussian blur. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we don't want to do too much. Let's blow that up a little bit so we can see how much it's going to blur. That actually doesn't look bad at all. Let's click OK, and now we're going to drop the opacity a little bit, and we're going to say that's just fine. Okay, now let's go ahead. Excuse me, I'm going to drop that down into the background. Control E on a PC, Command E on a Mac, and we're going to go right back over here to this eye. Control space bar, click and drag, Command space bar on a Mac, and we're going to go in and color sample again. Click on the color picker. We're going to go up, click between here and the top to get the next light area. And we're going to come in here and paint again with this new color. We need another new layer. Turn on the paintbrush, use the letter B if you wish, and we're going to click on make another half moon thingy here. Okay, and if you make it too big, use the eraser, and if your ends are kind of globby, use the eraser and so forth to get it more of a shape like this. And we want it a little bit smaller than the other one as well. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to click and drag this layer down to the new layer icon, so we have another copy of that. And we're going to zoom out, Control minus or Command minus on a Mac, and we're going to drag that copy over here. And let's do a Command D or Control D on a PC to get rid of those marching ants around things. And let's zoom back in. Let's do a Control spacebar, Command spacebar on a PC, and now I'm going to just use my move tool to move that into place. Spacebar, and click and spin that booger over. I'm going to use my move tool to move that more where I want it. Okay, a little bit of filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Ooh, too much. Let's go and combine these two real quick. Control E on a PC, Command E on a Mac, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. We're going to go with less of that. And this time, let's take the opacity down. Now the trick is I'm going to move this out of the way. We're going to zoom out, Control minus or Command minus on a PC, and let's look at those eyes and see if we need to go down more on the opacity. You're the artist, so you have the say-so. If you feel like it needs a little bit more of a Gaussian blur, do that too. Up here obviously is just too strong, but somewhere in there is looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit more of a Gaussian blur. That's not going to hurt anything either. And I think the eyes are looking a lot better. Now we've got to put a little bit of a glint in the eye, and we're done with this particular video. Let's go ahead and Control E to sandwich that down, or Command E on a Mac. And let's make a new layer. We're going to create a glint in the eye, or like a flash reflection. And let's zoom in on this eye. And now we're going to need white on top, so you can just press the letter X to bring white up. If white isn't there, press the letter D to bring up the default colors, and then press X to bring white up on top. Now we need the brush on, so you can press the letter B. And let's go over to the brush palette, and we want to bring up a kind of a soft brush, not real soft. Let's bring this. That size looks pretty good. We could probably go with a little bit bigger brush than that. So I'm going to use my right bracket key to make it a little bit bigger like this. And I want it 100%. And I'm going to bring the hardness up just a little bit. And I'm just going to go ahead and paint that right there one time. I'm going to move over to the other eye. Do the same thing, overlapping the pupil and the iris at the same spot. Now let's zoom out a little bit, Control minus, and you can see those are really hard dots. So let's go in, drop the opacity. So we got just a little bit of light there. Let's zoom back in, Control and spacebar or Command spacebar. Now let's create another layer. And this time we're going to paint again, a little bit smaller brush, left bracket one time, and we want this layer to be 100%, paint white, and we're going to click right here overlapping this little bit of white and a little bit of black right here, solid white. Maybe click a couple of times. Same thing right here, click a couple of times, and now zoom out again, Control minus and Command minus on a Mac. Let's drop that opacity. So there's our reflection. You can play with that until you feel like you've got just the right amount of light popping back out. And if we look at the original, you can see what a difference that makes to have that glint there. Now we can't take that reflection back out in the eye to see what it looked like before that, but I think you can see that the eyes look a whole lot better now. And next time we're going to work on just a little bit more around the eyes. I'm going to turn it into a three-parter instead. Talk to you all later.